Hello everyone. This is Ashish K. Welcome to Arpita Sharma classes. And today we're going to study Mastering Modern India. So, guys, before we start the class, I have a small announcement. And that announcement is Unacademy is conducting All India Free Scholarship Test, UPSC CSC Combat. It's on 9th January, which is on 11 a.m. So mark your date, guys. It's on 9th January, 11 a.m. This combat contains almost 56 questions in 60 minutes. Okay, so you guys can stand a chance to win from the pool of rupees 4 crore. You will get all India ranks as well. So this will be conducted as a mock test itself. So the ranking will be all India rankings. Okay, so if you get a rank between 1 to 3, you stand a chance to win 100% scholarship. And rank 4 to 10 will get 75% of the scholarship, and rank 11 to 50 will get 50% of the scholarship, and the rank of 51 to 500 will get 25% of the scholarship. So the link is given in the description box below. Use invite code ARPITA10, ARPITA10. So this is the code, guys. So we'll be waiting for you to take up the test on 9th January. Thank you. So coming to the topic today, civil disobedience movement. Okay. So today's topic is civil disobedience movement, which is from 1930 to 1937. So let's consider this, guys. So when we consider any movement, when we are studying about any movement, first we need to understand the concept in this manner is what I feel. On my personal opinion, in order to get a complete understanding, in order to build curiosity, in order to grasp what we are learning, what I would suggest is first, any topic we take, we have to get to know why, where, and when. Why did this moment happen? Where did this moment happen? When did this moment happen? So, when these three W's are actually explored, we get to know why in detail this started. What is the reason behind it? And how did it happen? When did it take place? Okay? So, and in order to get to know a concept, we have to have a strong imagination. What I feel is if we are studying something, we see that as a movie, we imagine that as a movie, we'll remember it for a longer time. We just read it, we just listen to it, or rather than listening, if we just hear it, it's not gonna stick to us, it's gonna perish. It's gonna slowly start decaying and we finally forget it. So that's how we lose. So, what I believe is let's imagine when we are studying something, let's imagine that. So, I'll start with this class in English. So, before we get into this topic, civil disobedience movement, we have to know this. This background story will actually connect us. So, we know how there was Nehru report which failed actually. After the fail of Nehru report is when the civil disobedience movement started. Our Congress leaders had actually asked for dominion status. They had requested for dominion status. So, due to which the dominion status was actually not accepted by the British. So, in the 1930, this Purna Swaraj resolution came into picture. So, before asking Purna Swaraj, let's see who actually proposed this Nehru report. Motilal Nehru actually proposed this Nehru report, and Lord Birkenhead. Lord Birkenhead stated that India cannot make their own constitution. So, due to which our Motilal Nehru actually proposed this agenda, this Nehru report. But this Nehru report was actually boycotted by the Muslim League, due to which the report failed. Okay, so February 1928, this was proposed, and Nehru report, due to which it failed, where the British did not agree to give India dominion status. So Britishers were so stubborn on this, they actually denied the fact. So in 1930, okay, so after the fail of Nehru report, Congress had consistently requested for dominion status. So as I told you, they actually turned it down. So Lord Irwin rejected the conditions. In Lahore session of 1929, Purna Swaraj was introduced. So, when our Indians were actually negotiating with Dominion status, the British actually denied it, being stubborn. Due to which, now even Indians lost the patience. They had actually, though Britishers were ruling upon us, they were negotiating it. But when, even in negotiation, they turned it down, that is when our Indians started. Purna Swaraj, we need complete independence. We will take back our independence. We will be the own rulers of our country. So that is when Purna Swaraj, Purna means full, Swaraj is freedom, okay, was introduced, and they decided to boycott RTC, the first roundtable conference. So this was actually boycotted, and they decided in the Lahore session. So this, after the fail of Nehru report, this was decided in the Lahore session in 1929. So they decided that on 26 Jan 1930. So this was actually considered 26 Jan 1930, we will take back our independence. So in 1929, when Purna Swaraj was introduced, our leaders decided together that we will take independence on 26 Jan 1930, but it could not happen. We failed to take independence in 26 Jan 1930. So our Indian National Congress, INC, stands for Indian National Congress, changed their mind and they started. No, now negotiating for Dominion status is a complete waste of time. We are not going to achieve it. So let's take back our freedom, was actually decided by INC, Indian National Congress. So our Indian National Congress gave the authority to start civil disobedience movement. So, this civil disobedience movement was actually proposed by our Indian National Congress. They gave the authority to start this movement. So, as we all know, Gandhiji is against civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji is against violence. I'm so sorry, it is not civil disobedience movement. He was against violence. As we all know, whatsoever we do, he wouldn't have taken a violent path. So Gandhiji came up with the idea for this civil disobedience movement. He started he started this movement by doing salt satyagraha. So Gandhiji decided to do salt satyagraha. Okay. So Gandhiji took up this initiative on March. Okay. So Gandhiji took up this initiative to take this satyagraha, which is a march. Okay, on 14th March 1930, this march started from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. Okay, so by this name, the coast of Dandi, we got this name as Dandi March. Okay, so when our Gandhi decided to start this march, this distance they covered by this march was 240 miles and it took 24 days. So it took 24 days from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. My god, that is one big of a distance. And look at that determination, guys. That struggle for freedom is seen in the effort they are actually taking up. So, Salt Satyagraha was just a start for CVD. So, for this disobedience movement, it was just a beginning because Salt Act 1882 was broken. Okay, it was actually imposed by the British government that we Indians cannot prepare salt on our own. So the government had to take up the initiative of producing it and we had to buy it from the government, which was imposed on high tax. So due to which Gandhiji took up the step and broke the law of Salt Act 1882. Okay, so how did this happen? First, Gandhiji, before starting the CVD, presented 11 demands to the British government. So, this British government was actually requested even before starting the civil disobedience movement, considering the welfare of all the Indians. of all the class of Indians, could be from worker class, could be to soldiers, could be bureaucrats, anybody in the line, for all their welfare, this request was done. And Gandhiji requested 11 requests, 11 points were there. You can just make a note of this, take a view of these points. Not that important, but yes, you should know what are those points and why was it turned down. So, and Gandhiji gave a deadline until 31st Jan 1930. So, 31st Jan 1930, Gandhiji actually gave a deadline. Since there was no positive response from the government, the start of civil disobedience movement emerged. Okay, so that is when the salt satyagraha started. So the march, as we all know, started with 72 members. But guys, as the path flew, as they started walking, lots of people started swarming into the group. So almost by the time they reached Dandi, there were 50,000 people in that march. There were 50,000 people who had reached there. And this march had a lot to bear. This was a very fierce march. After the non cooperation movement, this was actually the biggest step taken by our leaders. So, once this march started, this also started in various parts of India. For example, how this impacted. In Tamil Nadu, C. Rajgopalachari organized this march. So, C. Rajgopalachari actually proposed this march from Tiruchirappalli to Vedaranya of Tanjore. So, which is also known as Tanjavuru, also called as Tanjore. Okay, and also in the parts of Malabar, K. Kelappan started this Vaikonam Satyagraha, which is famously known as Vaikonam Satyagraha from Calicut to Poyannur. And in Orissa, Gopalabandhu Chaudhary in Balasore and Cuttack district. Okay, so during this protest was going on, during this march was actually happening in different parts of India. In April, this started in March. Okay, so in April, Nehru was arrested. So Nehru was arrested in April and Gandhi was arrested in May. So the government could not actually withhold. This was a widespread march. This was a widespread step taken all over India. All the people, almost all the people in India are stepping into the roads and getting into this protest. So this civil disobedient movement was hard for the British government to stop because almost see the British government strength is less, but still they had a good grip. But yet stopping such huge number of people was no mean feat, was not an easy step for them to take. And the government also tried suppressing the movement by violence. They started, though the march was peacefully started, though the Indians were peacefully doing this march, they were actually attacked by the soldiers. They were done lathi charges. So lathi charges were done on the protesters. And also, since they tried all that they can do to stop this, but they failed. And also they declared our Indian National Congress was declared as illegal. This party, which actually started this march, was actually considered as illegal from the government. Okay, so this impact, how did this impact? Okay, so after this, which was spread in the various parts of our nation, Nehru was arrested, as I told you, but the movement was spread so wide in the country, it did not stop. And people actually stopped paying fees. This Dandi March was just an initial breaking the SALT Act. But after that, people started breaking a lot of rules, lot of acts that was done, lot of laws that was done by the British government. This main intention of doing the CVD, our civil disobedience movement, was actually breaking the rules. Okay, the government tried actually suppressing the level best they could, but they could not. And what was the impact of this? This impact of this civil disobedience movement, government income from liquor, excise, and land revenue hits the ground. People stopped paying taxes. People stopped actually buying their foreign clothes, which was manufactured by the companies. People started up with their own charakas. They started yawning their own clothes. So, people actually hit the income. The most powerful source in order to run any administration is also income, and when you hit the economical criteria, it hits the dust. So they hit the weak point. Our citizens, our Indians actually took a very good stand. The government income of liquor, exercise, and land revenue hits the ground, and thousands of women involved and participated in this movement. So guys, as we have seen, at that point of time, women did come for the national freedom struggle, but in this struggle, more and more number of them involved in this. So, and foreign textile imports fell completely. It hit the ground. They used to buy clothes. They had made it so mandatory that here people had stopped actually spinning charkas. But now, since again people started spinning their own charkas, foreign textile also hit the ground. So that was a major hit. And since it was a non-violent movement, the government also could not suppress this non-violent act for a long time. So how long can they attack the people? People are not even raising their hands. And this was a major point. This was actually the Western journalists. They published it. People outside India got to know how British were actually ruling on us. So this actually did affect the government when this was actually questioned by others. So altogether gained a lot of support. A depressed classes also came onto the roads for this protest. Even the women came for this. Every section, every class of it could be lawyers, could be doctors, could be students, could be any soldiers for that matter, or could be any freedom fighters. Everybody came into the roads for this protest. So after the non-cooperation movement, guys, I think this is the biggest protest ever that was actually taken by our Indian leaders. But yet, British could not actually hold back. They had to find a mid route, or they had to find a way to compromise this, or they had to find a way to put down civil disobedience movement, because it was a rampage on all parts of India. So Lord Irwin called Gandhi and the Congress leaders to talk in Jan 1931. So, guys, this almost, in order for the British government to actually try all their strength and still could not stop this movement, that is when, that is when they called Gandhi and Congress to talk regarding this. So, this was like a story actually. Our freedom struggle, if imagined, we get actually goosebumps. It was so like astonishing for one small step. How? How it actually elevated. How a small group of 72 members march led to 50,000 for one single march. For example, from Gujarat to Dandi, there were 50,000 people. Just imagine, guys, in other parts of our country, in other parts where this was initiated, just imagine the crowd. Almost. Our India is not a small country. The strength could have actually got fears in the eyes of British. So this is a greatest achievement by our Indian leaders. This protest did actually create a milestone. And so finally, Lord Irwin had to call Gandhi and the Congress to talk in Jan 1931. So, guys, thank you. If there is any doubt, if there is any improvements that I have to do, if there is anything you did not understand, please do type in the comment section below. I will make sure before I post the next step. And also, after Lord Irwin called Gandhi and our Congress leaders, what could have been the discussion? What happened after that? This does create curiosity, right? So keep waiting for our next class, and I'll be back soon after what happened after Irwin called Gandhi and our Congress leaders. So, guys, thank you so much.